switched on. That's good. Excellent. I get to sit down too. Chancellor, lovely to see you.
Morning.
In 2015, the Chancellor was elected Member of Parliament for Richmond in North Yorkshire. In 2018, he was Parliamentary Under-Secretary for Local Government. And after the 2019 general election, Rishi did a short stint as Chief Secretary before being appointed to the top job as Chancellor of the Exchequer. Of course, Rishi has had one of the most challenging jobs of any Chancellor. He was very quick to respond to the impact of the pandemic and provided really a lifeline to businesses across the country. This year, once again, you had to make some difficult decisions and in the spring statement, rightly prioritise the most vulnerable in society. But with businesses facing all the challenges I have just outlined, we're really keen to hear from you about what more can be done to mitigate against those costs, but also increase opportunities for the future. So, I'll start with an easy question. No, I won't really. What would be your message, Chancellor, to business as they manage these cost pressures that we're seeing after the difficult last 2 years?
Well, I think the first thing to say is to say thank you to all of you here and all your other tens of thousands of members and businesses across the country, because you've had to display extraordinary resilience over the past couple of years and an entrepreneurial spirit to get through some of the challenges that have been thrown your way. And it's fantastic to see that you did that. And so, for me, an enormous sense of gratitude to business owners and business operators across the country for that. And it's because of that that I feel more confident about the future. Of course, we've got challenging times ahead of us, but if we've got through the last couple of years, then I think that same spirit of resilience and entrepreneurship will carry us through. In terms of specific help, because I know businesses are facing challenges at the moment with rising costs and other things, there were a couple of things we did in the spring statement that will make immediate practical help. The first was something that you spoke to us about and called for and your members wanted, and that was to increase the generosity of the employment allowance, which is a tax cut on employment. So that's a £1,000 tax cut on employment costs, so that came in this spring for this year. Also business rates, something that particularly those in the retail, hospitality and leisure sectors are focused on. So there we've introduced a 50% discount off business rates. That's a very significant tax cut this year, worth about £5,000 to a typical pub, for example. The fuel duty cut, I know difficult given where pump prices are, but again, about 40% of the benefit of that, which is about a £5 billion tax cut, together with the freeze, goes to businesses, we estimate. And we've got our Help to Grow programmes, which again, you guys helped us design, shape, and now promote. So I'd say if you take one thing away from today, please go and look online, Help to Grow. There are 2 programmes to support you all to take your business to the next level, getting mini MBAs or getting new productivity-enhancing digital software. There's an enormous amount of cash support from government, world-leading programmes there, and we're just in the process of rolling them out across the country in partnership with many of your fantastic chambers. And again, that's to help businesses think about the future and help them think about growing.
Great, thank you. So looking a bit more to that future, according to media reports, you and the Prime Minister are thinking about launching a plan for the economy. Could you maybe tell us a bit more about that and maybe what you're thinking about for the autumn budget?
So I set out in the spring statement a tax plan for which I said we would work on over the course of the year and then deliver in the autumn budget. And I think the thing that I would probably focus on for all of you and for businesses elsewhere is about the important role of investment. And I think you were kind enough to mention the super deduction in your remarks, something we haven't tried before in this country. We've got a long-standing challenge with businesses investing in capital, in new machines, in automation, and there's an enormous opportunity for us if we can crack that, because it will drive up productivity, create jobs, and increase profitability. Great for the country. So the super deduction is a very generous tax break on that. Now, it was temporary and it expires next spring, but what we've committed to doing is finding a more permanent replacement for the super deduction, which will continue to strongly incentivise business investment. Now, for smaller businesses, we also have something called the annual investment allowance. Again, something that, Shevaun, you and I have spoken about and I know is important to you and your members, because that's an incredibly easy version of that policy for smaller businesses. In fact, 98% of businesses probably only need that Again, temporarily, we took it up to £1 million. So £1 million of investment every year, you can just write off against your profits. There's nothing like that we can find exists anywhere in the world. We know how important business investment will be to our recovery, so we want to make sure the autumn budget will continue to support that.
Great, thank you. Maybe a quick word on trade. About 10% of UK businesses export. About 60% of Chamber members export, which is something, of course, we're all very proud of. What do you think the government and the private sector can do together to encourage more trade and grow that number?
So it's really great that you guys focus on this, and I think you're right to do so. You have an international outward-looking set of members. You've got an international network of chambers, which also helps. And it's great that Anne-Marie is coming here later to talk about this in a bit more detail. Now, you know, and she's probably better placed to go over, but I was actually doing this last night, and I was going on the DIT website. And my gosh, there are an enormous number of programs to support businesses. I mean, you're getting advice, helping connect businesses here with buyers overseas, all the support people need, vouchers, expert advice, people in our embassies. All these things are there, export academies. I could just go on and on and on. There's a range of initiatives that Anne-Marie has put in place to support businesses. And you know, it's an enormous opportunity. And as your members know, huge new markets, and actually what we find is businesses that export tend to grow faster, be more productive. So it's great for the economy overall, and you know, it's something that we're very keen to support. And now, the last thing I'd finish on is, because we can sign trade deals as an independent country, you know, we get to open up new parts of the world to British businesses to export to in a more attractive way. Now, the benefits of that don't accrue immediately overnight, but over time they will build, and that's really fantastic. Because around the world, you know, what we do here, what all of you do, is really highly regarded. People know that this country stands for quality in everything that we do, so they're excited to get a hold of what we do and make here.
Great. We are still, you know, we're still hearing from our businesses there are a lot of challenges with the EU, with exporting to the EU. Would you say a word on, you know, how you think we can overcome some of those?
Yeah, no, I know, and I know this has been something that businesses have had to adjust to, and I spent a lot of time in my previous job when we were preparing for all of this, putting in place lots of different initiatives to help businesses make the adjustment. And I think, again, I think you guys were helpful in us designing some of those voucher schemes that we put in place, I think supported and recommended by you and your members, to help businesses get the expertise and the advice they needed to make the transition. And, you know, and of course, there has been a change in our trading relationships. That was always going to be the case. And you'll know the government is looking at how we can ease some of those burdens further, particularly on the Northern Ireland side. But the exciting thing that Anne-Marie will also talk to you about is the longer-term vision, and things like building a single trading window, a platform where we can streamline and standardise all the reporting requirements to make sure that our customs procedures in this country are globally best in class. And I think she's got a range of things that she's focused on, which I know she'll talk to you about. But that, I think, is an exciting place for us to be. Great.
And Charles, and you mentioned inward investment. Obviously, we've got members here from all over the world. When you're out talking, when you're travelling around the place and talking to business, give us your elevator pitch for those looking to invest in the UK.
Yeah, I think it would be simple. The one thing I would say is the UK is the most dynamic, innovative economy anywhere in the world, right? Because I think innovation is the most important thing for our future growth and prosperity. It's accounted for about half our productivity growth over time, and no doubt will continue to be the most important driver of it. And it's something we're really good at. We're good at creating new things, thinking about how to do things differently, coming up with new products, new services, new goods. And we need an economy that supports innovation. So whether it's high-skill migration, where we are creating brilliant visas to attract the best and the brightest here, whether it's increasing the amount we spend on R&D, whether it's cutting taxes on all your R&D investment this autumn, which we're going to do, you know, whether it's all the reforms we're making to our capital markets so our startups can get the money they need to grow and then list, whether it's the regulatory regime we have for AI or data or crypto or life sciences or clinical trials, all of that goes into the mix of just making this the most exciting place to do innovation anywhere in the world. So that's the one thing I want people to take away.
Excellent. And when you pitch that to people around the world, do you feel that they believe in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can see it in the the figures. We just had them recently. London Tech Week was just a couple of weeks ago. More inward investment into fast-growing, innovative, technology-oriented businesses here than pretty much the next 3 European countries combined. I mean, that just gives you a sense of the scale of our advantage here. But we can't rest on our laurels. It's a competitive world out there. India, China, the US, everyone wants to do this. So we've just got to keep thinking across all the policy levers we've got. Where's the next thing to move forward? How can we be more competitive? How can we be more innovative? How can we be more dynamic?
Yeah. And just thinking about the green innovation piece of that, what more can we do together with government to drive that green innovation in our market?
So that's really exciting because this transition is going to spur lots of innovation. I see it up near me in places like Teesside, where we've got a new Brexit-enabled free port that's attracting investment from around the world in new industries like hydrogen and carbon capture and storage. So that's always, you talk about partnership, that is going to be a partnership. We're going to invest in the R&D side on government. We're going to try and find new revenue models for things like carbon capture and storage and hydrogen. And we're going to have to partner with businesses who are going to actually do the creating of these new things. So I'm incredibly excited about some of those opportunities.
Excellent. So I've got one last question. We want to sort of do a bit of future gazing. There's been much discussion about blockchain and cryptocurrency. I told the team, I'm thinking about launching Chamber Crypto. They weren't sure about that idea. You're interested in this area. Tell us a little bit about what you think the future is for digital currency.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what I was saying before about why I believe innovation is the most important thing for us economically. And I was lucky to study and live for a long time and work in California, so I got to feel and live and breathe that culture of entrepreneurship. Now, I think, I actually get a lot of criticism for championing things like this, which that's fine, because I think it's the right thing for the economy. The focus shouldn't be on just the cryptocurrency and whether people buying or selling Bitcoin. The exciting thing is the underlying technology, as you mentioned it. It's blockchain, it's permissionless systems, which open up a whole new way of thinking about areas like finance, for example, in a way that could be completely revolutionary. It could cut costs, speed things up, get finance to people who don't traditionally have benefits from it, change the way that those who create things, content makers, are able to get the value of their creations over time as they sell it. So there's lots of opportunity there. We don't exactly know, in the same way at the beginning of the internet, we didn't exactly know, that 10 years later we'd all be using Uber or whatever it was. So I'm excited about that. I want to make sure that this is a place which is welcoming of that innovation. And that means we need to do that, but we need to have a regulatory environment that is supportive of innovation but protects consumers, and that's where we're going. And I was just meeting with stakeholders over the past couple of weeks. They think that we are getting it right. We're getting that balance right, and there's a great opportunity for us in this country. And I think it will benefit ultimately and potentially change many of your own businesses in this room. So I'm supportive of Chamber Crypto. Sign me up.
Chamber Crypto is. We've run out of time. A huge thank you, Chancellor, for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well,
thank you very much.